you would find on Reddit threads. I don't know what they're called actually, but like Reddit spooky stories like r/nosleep and such. And I'm also a big fan of the missing 411 phenomenon, which I'd also love to do a video on, to be honest. But the missing 411 phenomenon is actual, like, real stories of people disappearing mysteriously in ways that can't be explained. That's a very summarized explanation of it, but I'd love to go into it in more detail in a different video. But this story, I believe, is not real, but it is a spooky story that I've heard snippets of throughout the years, because I've heard people like read some of it, but I've never heard anyone read the whole thing. So the thing that I wanted to read tonight is the r/nosleep story. I'm a search and rescue officer for the U.S. Forest Service. I have some stories to tell. That is the title. I believe that this is the most well-known for the stories about the stairs in the woods. He talks about finding stairs in the woods while, like, searching for missing people. But most of the other stories that he tells, because he tells a bunch of them, aren't included. It's usually just focused on the stairs in the woods. So I wanted to go over this. I thought I would read part 1 today, and there are actually many other parts, at least 3, that I can read in order if people end up liking this video. So let me know if you like this type of video, and I will absolutely do a part 2 where I read the second part of this. I took a look at the second part and it's really long, so I may have to break that one up into 2 videos. We'll have to see. But this one, I think we can make it through the first part in one video. Also, before I get into it, I wanted to note that my allergies have been kicking my ass, so if I sound a little nasally, that's why. I'm sorry. Second note, I want to reiterate, this is fictional. I know I've been talking about it as if this is a real story, but this is a fictional story. But it's a good fictional story, and it makes you feel like it's true, so it's very fun. I'm a search and rescue officer for the U.S. Forest Service. I have some stories to tell. I wasn't sure what else to post these stories, so I figured I'd share them here. I've been a search and rescue officer for a few years now, and along the way I've seen some things that I think you guys would be interested in. I have a pretty good track record for finding missing people. Most of the time they just wandered off the path or slipped down a small cliff and they can't find their way back. The majority of them have heard the old "stay where you are" thing and don't wander far. But I've had 2 cases where that didn't happen. Both bother me a lot, and I use them as motivation to search even harder on the missing persons cases I get called on. The first was a little boy who was out berry picking with his parents. He and his sister were together, and both of them went missing around the same time. Their parents lost sight of them for a few seconds, and in that time both kids apparently wandered off. When their parents couldn't the shoulders of the bear man and seemed calm. Of course, our first thought was abduction, but we never found a trace of another human being in the area. The little girl also insisted that he wasn't a normal man, but that he was tall and covered in hair, like a bear, and that he had a weird face. We searched the area for weeks. It was one of the longest calls I had ever been on, but we never found a single trace of the kid. The other was a young woman who was out hiking with her mom and grandpa. According to the mother, her daughter had climbed up a tree to get a better view of the forest, and she never came back down. They waited at the base of the tree for hours, calling her name, before they called for help. Again, we searched everywhere, and we never found a trace of her. I have no idea where she could possibly have gone, because neither her mother or her grandpa saw her come down. So that was his first anecdote, and he's got them lined up in like bullet points of the different stories that he is recounting here in this post. A few times I've been out on my own searching with a canine, and they've tried to lead me straight off cliffs. Not hills, not even rock faces, straight sheer cliffs with no possible handholds. It's always baffling, and in these cases we usually find the person on the other side of the cliff or miles away from where the canine has led us. I'm sure there's an explanation, but it's sort of strange. One particularly sad case involved the recovery of a body. A 9-year-old girl fell down in an embankment and got impaled on a dead tree at the base. It was a complete freak accident, but I never forgot the sound her mother made when we told her what had happened. She saw the body bag being loaded into the ambulance, and she let out the most haunting, heartbroken wail I've ever heard. It was like her whole life was crashing down around her, and the part of her had died with her daughter. I heard from another search and rescue officer that she killed herself a few weeks after it happened. She couldn't live with the loss of her daughter. I was teamed up with another search and rescue officer because we had received reports of bears in the area. We were looking for a guy who hadn't come home from a climbing trip when he was supposed to, and we ended up having to do some serious climbing to get where we figured he'd be. We found him trapped in a small crevice with a broken leg. It was not pleasant. He'd been there for almost 2 days, and his leg was obviously infected. We were able to get him to a chopper, and I heard from the EMTs that the guy was absolutely inconsolable. He kept talking about he'd been doing fine, and he'd gotten to the top. A man had been there. He said the guy had no climbing equipment, and he was wearing a parka and ski pants. He walked up to the guy, and when the guy turned around, he said he had no face. It was just blank. He freaked out, ended up trying to get off the mountain too fast, which is why he'd fallen. He said he could hear the guy all night climbing down the mountain and letting out these horrible muffled screams. The story bothered the hell out of me. I'm glad I wasn't there to hear it. One of the scariest things I've ever had happen to me involved the search for a young woman who had gotten separated from her hiking group. We were out until late at night because the dogs had picked up her scent. When we found her, she was curled up under a large rotted log. She was missing her shoes and pack, and she was clearly in shock. She didn't have any injuries, and we were able to get her to walk with us back to the base ops. kept looking behind us and asking us why the big man with the black eyes was following us. We couldn't see anyone, so we just wrote it off as some weird symptom of shock. But the closer we got to base, the more agitated this woman got. She kept asking me to tell him to stop making faces at her. At one point, she stopped and turned around and started yelling into the forest, saying that she wanted him to leave her alone. She wasn't going to go with him, she said, and she wouldn't give us to him. We finally got her to keep moving, but we started hearing these weird noises coming from all around us. It was almost like coughing, but more rhythmic and deeper. It was almost insect-like. I don't really know how else to describe it. When we were within sight of the base ops, the woman turns to me and her eyes are about as wide as I can imagine a human could open them. She touches my shoulder and says, "He says to tell you to speed up. He doesn't like looking at the scars on your neck." I have a very small scar at the base of my neck, but it's mostly hidden under my collar. I have no idea how this woman saw it. Right after she says it, I hear the weird coughing right in my ear, and I just about jumped out of my skin. I hustled her to ops, trying not to show how freaked out I was, but I have to say I was really happy when we left the area that night. Spooky. Okay, this is the last story from this post. This is the last one I'll tell, and it's probably the weirdest story I have. Now, I don't trust if this is true in every search and rescue unit, but in mine, it's sort of an unspoken, regular thing we run into. You can try asking about it with other search and rescue officers, but even if they know what you're talking about, they probably won't say anything about it. We've been told not to talk about it by our superiors, and at this point, we've gotten so used to it that it doesn't seem weird anymore. On just about every case where we're really far into the wilderness, I'm talking 30 or 40 miles, at some point we'll find a staircase in the middle of the woods. It's almost like you took the stairs in a house, cut them out, and put them in the forest. I asked about it the first time I saw some, and the officer just told me not to worry about it, and that it was normal. Everyone I asked said the same thing. I wanted to go check them out, but I was told very emphatically that I should never go near any of them. I just sort of ignore them now when I run into them, because it happens so frequently. I have a lot more stories, and I suppose if anyone's interested, I'll tell some of them tomorrow. If anyone has any theories about the stairs, or if you've seen them too, let me know. So that is the end of part 1 of the Search and Rescue Officers' stories. Like I said, there's a part 2. It's kind of long. There's a lot in there. And I believe part 2 goes into more detail about the stairs, which is clearly the breakout, most interesting story of this whole series. So, let me know if you would like another one of these videos. I'd absolutely love